Started. So looking at the agenda, starting with item number 1, annual sewer rate adjustment with CPIU.
So I'll take this. We passed a resolution back in March of 25 that talked about staying on top of the rate increases appropriately instead of having to hit them hard. As you know, we're out for a rate study right now. MTAS requested through us to have an extension for the rate study to be done. So my suggestion is we follow through with what our resolution says, which is we adjust our rate based on the CPIU. The CPIU for water and wastewater maintenance is 4.6%. So my suggestion is that we address it in that way. The other part of that is it will once again show that we are being responsible in how we address this, and it will also positively impact the rate study being done, where it won't be as egregious if we do what we're supposed to do, which is keep up with it annually. So I'm open to discuss anything with y'all, and resolution 25-647 is the reference that I used, and basically it says to avoid future issues of this nature, the town will adopt an annual review and adoption process where the annualized inflationary rate for the water and sewage maintenance line, as identified in the CPIU, Consumer Pricing Index for all urban consumers, is considered, and an annual increase is addressed from the data available. So that's what I'm bringing before you as a conversation point.
Is this more than what we discussed a couple of months ago when you brought it up to us? The sewer rates, we had raised it a little more because they didn't do it in 10 years.
It's not anywhere near what we did when we did this. When we did the initial 35%, this is a 4.6% year over year. And that was the actual inflation from 24 to 25, which is what we use. The Bureau of Labor and Statistics puts all that information out, and it's a good source for us to use. It's not like we're creating that.
When would we need to do this then?
On or about April 1st is when it would become effective. So you would see it in March, but I don't want to wait till March to have this discussion, and I want to get out in front of this as we continue to build our budget and go forward with those things in strategic planning. This is one of those important conversations that we've got to have. So
what do you think this will cost per household a month?
Per household per month?
Yeah.
So I can't tell you, but I can tell you what it does to the base rate. And the base rate would go from $43.88 to $45.90. And the per 1,000 gallons would go from $7.08 to $7.41. So I can't tell you what that translates to for households.
What was that last figure?
It's
7 what?
The current base rate is $7.08.
Yeah.
It would go up by 33 cents to $7.41, and that's a 4.6% increase.
And that would be an annual every year 4%?
No, this is this year only, and then when the rate study comes back around whenever it is done, we'll have a conversation then about implementation of the rate study process. So, but this will soften that blow, hopefully, by us being responsible and staying engaged instead of what happened from 2015 to 2025, where there were no increases, and you as a board got in an unenviable position to have to raise it, so we don't end up with problems with the state.
So it said that we'd be seeing that coming up in March.
Correct.
To adopt. So not this month's meeting, but next month.
Correct.
Okay.
And I'm looking for input from the board so I can craft the resolution to address going forward.
At the rate that what those numbers would be, I feel like that we should, stand by the resolution that we've already passed of keeping that to that. Because truthfully, though, a utility company is going to have a hard time beating inflation. At the end of the day, I mean, you're not going to beat inflation. You don't have a tangible good to sell. You're just basically trying to break even and maintain services. So we don't do this, we're just going to continue to let ourselves get behind and face the same situation. So I would be my recommendation, we go ahead and proceed with drafting the resolution to adopt that at that 4.8 rate.
4.6.
I'm sorry, 4.6.
Yes. Okay. I will take care of that.
Any other discussion before we move on? Move on then to item number 2, City of Kingsport trash contract.
So that's the next thing. Obviously, we know year over year that things go up. I was notified by the City of Kingsport that there will be a per can increase. It's a 23% increase. We will go from $10.50 a can to $13 per can. It's approximately a $70,000 total impact to the cost of trash services. I will tell you that we can't buy 2 trucks and staff them and do that job for what we are paying the services to be done. So, there's there's really no good option there for us to bring it in-house or do something different. We have a good partnership with Kingsport. They based this rate on a rate study that they had done, and it's justified. I have not met with them yet, but I wanted to get it out in front of you all to let you know during the budget process, we're going to be talking this through as well. So,
What would it cost us to go see what would Republic could do it for us?
so I'm going to tell you that private for-profit companies are going to charge us more because they're looking for profit over a municipality that is not. The municipality is just trying to pay for the service. Over the 10 years that they didn't raise our trash fees, it would be no different than us going in competition against a for-profit company. So I can certainly explore those things for you, but at the end of the day, the ideology doesn't line up for it to make sense, because a profit-based company is looking for a profit margin. They're not looking to provide a service like a municipality does.
I would like to see 3 different proposals.
Okay?
Are there 3 companies around here that you can get quotes from?
Probably get Waste Management, Republic, and
At
Kingsport.
Kingsport.
Yeah.
And you would also want to keep in mind customer service.
And there's no more that's going to be a better guarantor than Kingsport would be. Would you agree with
We've
that?
had a long-term relationship with them. They know the area. Republic, Waste Management, or any of the others that are out there. I don't have information on them, so I can't make a educated
Sure.
statement about what that looks like. What Tyler just said is very important though, and that is a customer service thing. We've never had issue with picking up the phone and getting Kingsport to be responsive to whatever I've needed from them during this process. Whether there were houses that were missed, whether there was damage that was done, whether there was broken cans, all of that has been very responsive. I will tell you that the for-profits, we do deal with them on some areas of the town, and we don't have the same relationship where they're responsive.
So what do we pay them right now per year?
I don't have that number off the top of my head, sorry.
It's approximately $275,000.
And what do you think it's gonna go to?
And
About 340, 345.
Danny probably gonna have to look buying new cans too, wouldn't you?
What's that?
Buying new cans, if we did switch, we'd have to buy new cans, wouldn't we?
Well, that's part of it
Part of the
is,
service.
yeah, whenever you go out for bid, that's what they would do, is they would include the can as a process or that kind of thing. So Tyler and I are gonna have to get together and put this out as an RFP. So that may take a little bit,
I
but
know I spoke to you also, asked them maybe if they can do 2 cans sometimes per family, cause,
Kingsport cannot do that for us.
okay, you done checked on it?
It'd be, one, they don't offer it through our contractual
Okay.
service. We can explore that, but it's gonna be very costly.
Okay, I just know there's a company, at least my subdivision, they had a letter come out and want to know if people want an extra can, that they would do it if.
That's a private,
That's a private
that's a
company.
private
Yeah,
person or a private group
Yeah.
that does that, so.
We can put out for bid and see what we get.
Any other questions on trash contract? Move on, excuse me, move on then to item number 3, strategic planning for March 4th, 2026. And Tyler, you want
Sure, I'll lead off and you can jump in. We met with Pete Auger from MTAS the other day to discuss strategic planning. He's given us kind of a brief outline of what we might want to do for that day. The main thing is, Jim and I are still refining that, but the main thing we need to know from you all is a time frame for that day. They've requested about 6 hours. Our suggestion would be start around 9 o'clock, but if there's a overwhelming desire to do it at a different time, we need to know that as we plan for that day.
what works for you? 9 o'clock works?
Yeah.
Good for everybody? We'll just go ahead and pencil that in for 9 o'clock then.
Yeah, and we'll feed lunch as part of that.
That works.
Mhm.
All right, we'll move on then to item number 4, 2026 CDBG application for a fire tanker.
So Mitch and I met with First Tennessee Development District a month or so ago to close out the application for the ladder truck that we received back in September. And we were encouraged to apply again for a different type of equipment or a different project for the 2026 cycle, because now that the previous grant is closed, we can apply again. So the fire chief has recommended that a fire tanker might be the best resource that we could explore with that. I'll let him speak about that in just a second. The maximum amount that can be applied for is $420,000, and it's an 80%, 20% grant. So we would be responsible for matching 20% of the funds, just
What
like we
would that
do.
amount to, money wise?
80,000.
Yeah, about 80,000.
80,000?
That's what it was last time.
So if you want to speak to the fire tanker and the need and all that.
I mean, I think I've spoke to several of you about this as the past couple of years, but we've been able to do a lot, accomplish a lot equipment wise and update things and bring it, forward drastically in the last few years. But this is the last piece. We need to complete our fire protection fleet. We have a ton of areas that are not hydranted or that have weak hydrants, flow less than 500 gallons a minute, which is not sufficient for firefighting. And it needs, it's a major issue, it really is.
Is this gonna be
Not
a
only
semi, is this gonna be a semi type of vehicle?
It'll be, no, I mean, what we're looking at is a tandem axle, will still be a straight truck, but 3,000 gallon tanker. So that will give us the ability to immediately, pull up with 4,000 gallons of water, counting our primary engine, versus what we do now is 2,000 gallons of water. So we're doubling the amount of water we can put on the scene immediately, to overcome those non-hydrated or weak hydrated areas. The other thing that it there's more advantages than just that. Your ISO ratings could be affected by that. We just had that audit, done 2 weeks ago. We won't have the results back for 4 to 6 months, but that having that truck could greatly affect that. In turn, lowers homeowners' premiums. And the other thing that this gives us the opportunity to do is possibly open a second station, something we've talked about for a while. If we have the 3,000 gallon tanker to put here at the station we have now, that frees up the other engine to move over, Independence, Carters Valley area. I'm exploring some options there, but it allows that to be able to happen.
So once we buy that, which I'm sure it'll fly,
I hope so.
you got anything else we need in a?
No, sir. No, we wouldn't be, I can't imagine, unless the town wants to grow drastically, we would be looking at any sort of fleet expansion at that point. This would purely be, which everything we've done prior to now is replacements, but this would be an expansion, and then we would, it would just be maintaining what we have.
Okay.
And our other truck's in pretty good shape for time being?
Yes, sir. We would, in a few years, we would need to look at replacing the truck that's a 2000 model, so it's 26 years old already. But like I said, we would just be maintaining what we have then.
Does any one of these trucks that you have, or the tankers, do they have an opening in the back where you can crawl back in there and scrape all the scale off?
The tanks, no, they're confined spaces, they're not interval.
Okay.
I think the biggest thing that I think that you pointed out with that is that you're essentially asking for an $84,000 investment at 20 cents on the dollar.
Yes.
For equipment. The direct line that you then potentially could draw from making a small investment to saving monthly or annual premiums on the homeowner's insurance for a large majority of the town, I think you would actually see a cost savings for the greater overall drastically cover the cost that we would make for that little piece of, for the small price of the equipment.
Right, and that's definitely an added bonus, but in reality, it's just if we're gonna provide a service, we need to do it well. And, water is the number one thing that fights fires. If you don't have that, the rest of it doesn't make a hill of beans, for lack of another way.
Right.
What's the difference between a firefighter water tanker and a regular water truck tank? I know over years ago they had just a regular water truck tank.
Right. It's just the amount of water. I mean, what we're truly looking at would be a pumper tanker, so something that we could use,
Okay.
has a pump on it, we can fight fires off of it. It just carries that large amount of water.
I can answer that for you a little more detailed. The bottom line is it has a fire pump on it, and it's built to be a response vehicle, not a high performance response vehicle. Whereas the water truck on the highway that's just keeping dust down has a high center of gravity. They're not expected to respond because there's been conversions that they've tried and they flip these trucks over every time. So I say that there is specificity in how they build a fire department tanker. So
I know at one time we had a regular water truck.
Right,
And we
these
didn't.
are all built, to NFPA standards to mitigate what he's talking
And it's
about.
got all your radios.
There used to be, to talk about what you're speaking of, I think there used to be a lot of homemade trucks.
Yes.
Yeah, and they were not safe. The tanks weren't baffled. They were killing firemen.
Sounds like a military truck.
we were talking
they were
about
made out of
militaries
everything.
earlier. It's the same.
Yeah.
It's that same principle.
In regards of this agenda item, is this something that we'll be putting on February's agenda to take a vote to?
All this, the resolution
The
will come
resolution.
before you all
Okay.
to proceed. Now, this is, in all reality, judging from the time frames of the last one, this is not something I look for us to deal with until not this coming budget year, but the next.
But as far as getting the application process going, we're going to start that this month to at least try to make the attempt to get the funding.
And I built a map to submit with the grant process that shows the municipal limits and hydrant locations, and they're color coded based off their flow rates. I'd be happy to share that with you all. I like being able to see it graphically.
What does a truck like that usually sell for?
I've been working through specs right now, and we're in the 500,000 range.
Okay.
Can you get that grant pretty quick?
Well, last year, when we did it in 2024, we applied in March. We were notified we were awarded September, October. By the time we went through all their paperwork and the hoops that the state requires, I think the money wasn't released until March, April-ish of 2025. So,
I just wondered.
we're a year and a half at best out. And the other thing is, from the time if we order that truck today, it's a year at best for us to see it, probably more like 18 months.
Is that something you would look at used like we did on the other, or is that only a new option? Is the best way to go?
I've just been looking, because of the price range, if we can buy something new.
No, totally, I agree with that.
Right.
Absolutely. I'm just curious of what it looked like.
We went the used route with the ladder truck for something new, like we're talking, a couple $1 million.
Right.
So,
This is a new tanker, right?
yes, sir.
All right, so
I
Hey,
did it quick as I could.
Put this in the budget as a placeholder in case it moves quickly. But if you'll just remember, the grant dollars are
subject
subject to change, and it really does us no harm if they don't come in, because we're not.
just rolls right
But,
there.
but if we have it in the budget we're ready to roll if it happens. So.
And that's what I would say is that whatever we can do to set ourselves up for the highest rate of success, that's what I would recommend that we do with that, because it's, like I said, 20 cents on the dollar.
Right, and if we were just to add to that, not to keep you guys, but because I could talk about it forever, but the possibility of opening that second station drastically reduces those ISO ratings, because they base it off of deployment analysis, but right now we get about half of those points. So if you had a second station, you're looking at nearly all of them.
All right. So we'll be seeing that on the agenda this month. That will take us into next item, 2026 LPRF application park updates.
So we have the ability to apply for another LPRF grant for our park to do more improvements there. It's a 75-25 matching grant. It used to be 50-50, but now it's changed to 75-25, so that's more advantageous for us. We're looking at exploring up to about $1 million of improvements, which the town would only have to pay $250,000. Nothing is set in stone yet. We're still looking at options as to what we need to refurbish or repair. We're looking at the baseball field, the basketball court, and the walking trails to see what improvements need to be made. And the application is due in April, and then they award it in the summertime, July. It'll be the similar time frame as the grant that Mitch was talking about. But you'll probably see a resolution. If I get it in time, it'll be on this month's meeting. If not, it'll be in March. And we're working with an engineering firm to kind of give us a plan, a drawn out plan for what we can do and cost of what it's going to cost us to do each project. But once again, another great opportunity for us to make investments at minimal cost.
Are y'all looking at the 5-year plan that we had done
Yep.
to help guide you all with your?
We are. You have to submit your master plan as part of the process, and you have to follow that. You don't have to follow it exactly, but you have to follow the main guidelines of the master plan, which is what we're doing.
So which that by that standard, things that are in the master plan would be eligible for the improvement fund.
Right.
Okay.
And all the items that I just mentioned are somewhere in that master
5-year
plan.
plan?
Right.
Okay.
There's a lot of other things too that we can do all kinds of things, but we're one step at a time.
Dancing around that, I think the words that we're thinking about, but we'll hold off on those for right now. Any other questions about applying for that? I just certainly recommend that we proceed with that. It's a good opportunity, no matter what the funding that we apply for is, at 25 cents on the dollar. That's we've made some big improvements, I feel like, over the last 3, 4, or 5 years at the park already.
Yes.
This grant could truly finish that project off. I would feel like, at least get it very, very close. I have everything up in that park seeing some meaningful, impactful change. So thank you for your work on that, Tyler. I look forward to seeing that resolution, and take us into item number 6, municipal court software costs at a pay per offense option.
So right now, our municipal court software cost the town about $6,500 a year for the software that we use. We've been paying that out of pocket. We've also been managing our own collections internal, sending these items that are overdue to collections. We have the option now to pass an ordinance to change the court cost structure on the tickets to make the offender who receives the ticket pay an extra fee to help us cover the cost of our software. So in this scenario, the cost would be added to their ticket and the town would not pay for its software. The offenders who violate the municipal code or speeding, they would have the cost added to their ticket. So it's a cost savings for us, and it will also eliminate some of the administrative side that we have to do. So it's something for you to consider if you would like to proceed with that.
How much would it cost the per offender?
If we just did the software only, it would be $14 a ticket. If we did the software and collections, it would be $23 a ticket.
I say do both.
Sounds good to me.
Isn't that something that we addressed it earlier when we was doing the fee?
We did not.
We talked about it, but we did not address it.
Okay.
And at the recommendation of the consultant from MTS at the time, there wasn't legislation available for us to, so their solution was make it the court fee all inclusive. Now we can actually carve that out and make sense of it, because we were shooting in the dark at how much it costs to do those things. The other part is there's an additional cost for the collection side that will be absorbed by the offender as opposed to the town. So if y'all are in favor of that, we would like to move forward with that.
Yeah.
How many offenses you drive through here a week?
We're not, I don't know about weekly, but we counted in 2025, we issued 360 tickets.
They could pay for it. I don't see a problem with it.
And I think the company that runs the software based their rate on historical data of 360 to 400 tickets a year. Clearly, they're not going to present an option that won't pay for their services.
Will that also account for the speed camera tickets too?
That's separate.
Or is that?
That sounds good to me.
So it seems like a pretty much consent to proceed with drafting that to bring it. So we'll see that February's
Yes.
agenda as well.
That'll be an ordinance that will require 2 readings.
Okay, good deal. All right, that completes the agenda for tonight, and we don't really need a motion to adjourn. We'll just appreciate everybody coming out tonight, and we'll look forward to seeing you in 2 weeks.
I do want to share with y'all, I'm leaving